Welcome back to Secrets Behind the Stars, the corner of the internet where emotions are loud, truth is louder, and celebrity love stories are felt as much as they are told. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, tap that like button, and join our community, because today we're diving into a confession that rippled through showbiz and landed right in the hearts of millions. It was an ordinary interview that turned extraordinary the moment Cenk Torun decided to speak from the deepest part of himself. The Turkish actor, long admired for his calm charisma and seasoned presence on screen, opened a door most celebrities keep bolted shut. He spoke about love. He spoke about fear. He spoke about the kind of decision that doesn't just change a relationship, it changes a life. His partner, the captivating and warm-hearted Mahassine, had carried a quiet dream for years. Becoming a mother wasn't a passing thought for her, it was something sacred, intimate, and steady, a promise she had made to herself long before camera flashes and red carpets. In private, the dream blossomed into a path she could see clearly, not just motherhood, but the choice to adopt, to welcome a child who needed a home, a voice, and the steady safety of love. When the conversation reached that point in their life together, Cenk admitted something he had rarely allowed himself to say out loud: he didn't feel ready. Not for the sleepless nights, not for the constant responsibility, not for the abrupt shift between the world of sets and scripts and the quiet, unglamorous work of parenting. The demands of his career, the expectations placed on his image, the fear of not being enough, it all loomed taller than he expected. He had always been the reliable lead, the calm presence, the man who knows where to step next. But this was different. This wasn't a role. This was reality, and it frightened him. Yet his voice didn't shake when he admitted the other half of that truth. He loved her. He loved the way Mahassine brought warmth into every room, the way she listened more than she spoke, the way her compassion wasn't performative, it was simply who she was. "I was afraid of failing at something I couldn't afford to fail," he confessed, in words that caught even him off guard. "But I realized I was more afraid of watching her let go of the dream that lit her from the inside." Those words moved across the internet like a gust of wind that quietly becomes a storm. Within hours, social media timelines were filled with reactions. Some people celebrated his honesty, calling it the bravest thing an established star could do, to admit he was scared. Others found themselves drawn to the steadiness of Mahassine, to the way her dream never screamed, never demanded, only waited with patience. Together, the couple who had been adored for their elegance suddenly became compelling for a different reason. They were imperfect, and in that imperfection, they were deeply human. Cenk described how the conversation stretched over weeks, then months. Not arguments, but pauses. Not ultimatums, but questions. He said he would lie awake and picture a small hand reaching for his, and he would feel both terror and an unexpected tenderness. "I kept thinking," he admitted, "that timing had to bend to courage. Mine hadn't yet." But he also revealed the turn. One evening, after a long day on set, he came home to find the apartment quieter than usual. No dramatic music, no grand gesture, just the everyday rhythm of their life. He watched her set down a cup of tea, her attention soft and steady as always, and something in him finally stilled. Love, he realized, wasn't only about what you're ready for. It was about who you are when someone you love tells you what their soul is asking for. "I didn't wake up fearless," he said, almost with a smile. "I simply decided my fear didn't get the final word." The decision to support her dream, to step with her into adoption, wasn't painted as a fairy tale twist. It was honest, and it was complex. He acknowledged that he might stumble. He accepted that he would learn. He promised to show up even when he was tired, even when he felt clumsy and unsure. And that promise, spoken quietly, is what turned a confession into a revelation. As for Mahassine, she shared her truth with grace. Adoption wasn't her second choice, it was her first language of motherhood. She spoke about wanting to build a world for a child who needed more than applause. A child who needed a home with walls that listened and hands that didn't let go. She talked about respect, about responsibility, about the power of family that is chosen and cherished. In her, the public saw not just a beloved star but a woman whose compassion had always been more than a caption. Dear viewers of Secrets Behind the Stars, what do you make of this kind of devotion? Would you choose courage for the person you love, even when you weren't certain it lived in you yet? Tell us below, and if these moments of raw truth matter to you, press like so more people hear them. Predictably, the tabloids dissected every sentence. Some hailed Cenk as a partner who chose love over ego, while others worried aloud about the long-term weight of stepping into parenthood without feeling entirely prepared. But the noise around them only underscored one undeniable fact: they weren't curating a perfect picture. They were choosing to be real. And in a world so polished that it often erases the fingerprints of fear and longing, that choice stood out. Cenk also spoke about what carried him through the hesitation: her patience. She didn't corner him with schedules or shame. She didn't measure his heart on a stopwatch. She simply kept believing that the man she loved would find the courage he needed. Her belief didn't shout, he said quietly. It waited. And I grew into it. That sentiment, more than any dramatic line, revealed a bond that cannot be staged, the kind born in private, in the silences that don't hurt, in the trust that doesn't break. The confession also revealed another side of Mahassine to the public. Beyond the red carpet and photo calls, she came forward as someone rooted, deliberate, and brave. Her commitment to adoption stretched beyond desire; it carried a purpose. She wanted to push past the old myths and make room for the truth that family is built by love and kept alive by intention. And when Cenk aligned himself with her vision, their relationship shifted from a romance admired to a partnership respected. The internet kept buzzing. Comments poured in from people who knew fear intimately: fear of change, fear of not being enough, fear of being seen. Courage doesn't always roar, sometimes it agrees to show up scared, one comment read. Another wrote, he didn't just say yes to fatherhood. He said yes to growing. Their story, retold in threads and videos and whispered between friends, started to reflect something beyond glamour: the anatomy of a choice that asks for everything and offers something unmeasurable in return. Here at Secrets Behind the Stars, we always say that the strongest stories don't dangle perfection like a prize. They tell the truth. Cenk's admission dismantled the glossy idea that celebrities effortlessly glide into every chapter with a smile and a plan. He didn't pretend. He didn't spin. He said, in essence, that love asks hard questions, and that answering them honestly is a form of devotion. As for what comes next, the couple knows the path won't be smooth just because the intention is pure. Adoption is a process layered with formalities and feelings, with interviews and introspection. There will be moments when their schedules pull at them, when fatigue scratches at the edges of patience, when the noise outside tries to drown out their quiet progress. But their story has already taught us this: they aren't afraid to be seen doing the hard work. They aren't afraid of mess. They only refuse to be dishonest about it. And so the headlines kept circulating, but the real heartbeat of the story came from them, not from the commentary around them. They kept choosing each other. They kept showing up in small ways. They kept talking. They learned together, slowly. They didn't chase a picture. They built a life. To our cherished audience at Secrets Behind the Stars, tell us your thoughts. Do you think Cenk's bold honesty will open the door for more public figures to speak about the parts of life that terrify them? Do you believe stories like this remind us that even in the glamorous world of film and fame, love is still made of ordinary courage? Comment below, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss when a story like this finds its way to you. There is something about this revelation that refuses to be reduced to gossip. It starts with fear, sidesteps pride, and ends up holding hands with resolve. Cenk and Mahassine didn't win people over with a photo. They did it with truth. He admitted he wasn't ready. She refused to shrink her dream. And together, without theatrics, they stepped forward. In one of the most resonant moments of the interview, Cenk described how he finally understood what love was asking of him. It wasn't about changing who I am, he said. It was about allowing who I am to expand. That expansion, that willingness to grow without pretending it's easy, is the quiet miracle at the center of this story. And for Mahassine, the decision to pursue adoption with clarity and grace challenged old misconceptions. She didn't frame it as an act of charity, but as the most natural way her heart wanted to mother. She invited the public to imagine family not as a mirror of biology, but as a work of devotion. The result? Many found themselves reconsidering what it means to build a home, to commit to someone else's tomorrow. There will be late nights. There will be errors. There will be days when the past tugs at the present, and moments when the newness of parenthood startles them into doubt. But woven into everything is a promise, to stay, to try, to choose the harder thing because it is also the truer thing. As we close, let's sit with the lingering echo of what was said. Not the headline, not the blare, the human part. A man who had every reason to keep quiet chose to speak from the center of his fear. A woman who had every reason to back down held her dream with gentleness instead of force. And together, they found a way to meet in the middle, where love becomes less of a performance and more of a practice. From all of us at Secrets Behind the Stars, thank you for walking through this with us. Stories like this remind us that the most meaningful chapters aren't always the ones with fireworks. Sometimes they're the ones written softly, with patience, with steady hands, with the courage to be seen before you're sure you're ready. Stay close. Because here, every story has a heartbeat, and every heartbeat tells a truth worth hearing. Until next time, remember to like, subscribe, and join our community so you'll never miss the moments that move us all.